doing right now, we're just kind of spreading, which does a lot more just to spread steel rather than drawing it in any particular direction off the edge of the anvil to establish that shoulder. And I gotta tell you kids, I am fatiguing out. It has been a long time since I have swung a hammer, and my shoulder does not like this very much. Trying to grab on the corners of this guy. So now I'm going to use the cross peen of the hammer. And this tends, instead of spreading the steel in all directions, to spread it only exactly perpendicular. That flattens us back out again. Now you can see we're way off center. So at the next heat, we're going to take half blows to try to get back in line a little bit. I got a little bit of heat left in this heat, so bringing the spine in line with the handle. One of the things that I'm noticing here is how perishable this skill is. Like, the steel is not doing exactly the thing that I want it to do, in part because it's been a minute since I've done this. Of a railroad spike knife is that we can do it root to forge, and so while there is a lot that we can do on the grinder to clean this up, we don't want to have to grind so much because we want it to look nice. Blacksmiths do that I don't like to see is that they just end up with this kind of spatula shape where they don't draw the belly out into the blade at all. They just kind of swoosh everything. So let's get some width with this. And now we're going to establish that choil there. We're going to establish a nice shoulder for that choil. One experiment that I want to try that I haven't done yet is to establish that using a piece of round bar instead of the corner of the anvil. But I don't have a piece of round bar handy. Rather than making you watch me hunt for it, I'm going to do it that way. I want a little bit more of a corner there, so we're going to take it back into the heat. We're going to use the crossbeam. final shaping, despite the fact that I want this to be put to forge, that final shaping is going to have to be on the grinder. How the blade doesn't retain nearly as much heat as the handle does. It's because there's less mass to it. Mass is thermal mass by default. Going into the vise. Ideally I would have a blacksmith's ice vise, but I don't. This up out of 2x4s, but we've got this nice lever we can use. We need it to come back in line with the blade. Something to be said for the idea of a wooden or leather mallet so that we can straighten this without marring it, but that's another tool that I haven't bothered to buy. Another alternative is to try to straighten this a little bit in the vise. Okay. I do want to bring that blade back into line, so we'll keep the blade back up. Thermal mass in that handle than in the blade, so the blade becomes cool enough to touch after just a few seconds of water, and the handle stays too warm. But that's where we go. That feels pretty good. You know, this isn't quite in line. So I'm not totally happy with it. It's close enough because I'm not going to sell it. It's the wrong